Many of us who have started a life of full-time travel have sold our homes and everything we owned back at home. And so all those comforts that we had or got used to every single day are no longer there for us. And on the road, you do sometimes sort of miss them. So I decided that this week's video, since we've been traveling now for 4 weeks, was a good time to share with you some of the things that I brought with me for Raphael and I while we were traveling that have sort of helped us on this journey. Now, these are my preferences. So if you have other things that you like, please feel free to let me know down in the comments some special things that you have brought, or if you think what I'm bringing is crazy and there's a better way to do it, please let me know as well. But today's video will be all about some of the things you can bring on your journey that maybe will help you during your stay at Airbnbs, and just a few of those comforts that you really don't want to live without. Hi, I'm Mimi, and welcome to Mimi and More. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome to the channel. And if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Anyway, let's jump right in. Okay, so I want to talk to you today about some of the things that I found that I wanted to bring on this full-time travel journey with us, and that we've used every single one of these while we've been away. Now, as I said in the intro, some of them are just really special to me. And if you have things that you can't live without that you brought, crazy as they may be, share them in the comments. I'd love to know what other crazy things or not so crazy things people are bringing on their trip. So I'm going to start in the kitchen area and work my way through the house, if you will. So the first thing is, I have everything down here, so I'll be leaning down. So the first thing in the kitchen is we brought with us, I know this is crazy, but we brought this sponge. Now, Raphael discovered these sponges while we were still living at home in the Northeast in New Jersey, and we swear by these sponges. We've been using them for a month. This sponge has absolutely no smell whatsoever. So we brought one of these along with us, and we will take it from Airbnb. We're on the road for 4 months this time. And you know, when we're done in the last location, we'll just toss it. So we got these online, and I'll put a link below as to where you can order them. Maybe now's a good time to say is this video, as you can tell by my number of subscribers, is probably not sponsored by anyone. But if anybody out there wants to sponsor me, I'm here. That said, I will put a link in the description as to where you can buy most of these things if you're interested. Especially some I think are key and you might find really helpful. So we just talked about the sponge. The next thing is, believe it or not, is this little teeny tiny knife sharpener. Anybody who spent any time in an Airbnb, and you certainly don't have to be a full-time traveler to know this, the knives suck. They're never sharp, and there's nothing worse than trying to cut, you know, an apple or an onion or, you know, cucumber or whatever, not to mention a piece of meat with a dull knife. So honestly, I've had this sharpener for about 20 years. I got it on QVC of all places, but I was happy to discover when sharing it with some friends that they still sell it on Amazon. So I will put the link below. But this is a great little tiny knife sharpener that, you know, it's, you know, I'm going to say it's like 2.5 inches by, you know, 2 inches, and it's just great to pop in your suitcase. Doesn't really take up a lot of space, and I used it immediately when we got to this Airbnb. Okay, next on the list in the kitchen area is Airbnbs notoriously don't have any or enough like storage things. So if you're doing any amount of cooking in your Airbnb, you'll find that there's a real lack of any sort of, you know, Tupperware or storage type of thing. So I pack a bunch of these, you know, multi-use, I'm going to call it a Ziploc, but obviously that's the brand name. But these, you know, seal bags, assorted sizes and shapes. These have gussets, so it does make it easier to put things, and they stand up on the shelves. I have a bunch of these, and we've used every single one on this trip. Now, that said, I also brought these. I brought a handful of Ziplocs this size. I brought the bigger size, and we've used them. We've used them multiple times. I think going forward, I might not bring these anymore. I don't know. They are a little bulky, hard to pack, if you can believe that, but I might just like throw in some more Ziploc bags. And the good thing about it is not only if you have any sort of leftovers, you can, you know, pop them in here. But in addition, if you buy the bigger ones, like the gallon size, even if you, like, you're not going to have any saran wrap or aluminum foil or anything like that to cover a plate or a bowl, but you can, you know, slip a bowl or a plate into the larger of these and, you know, sort of seal it off if you can. And it will help cover and protect your food if you're cooking a lot. The next thing that I bring is a cheese grater. Okay, so call me crazy. This is the first time we went out on the road for a month when we did a trial a year ago in Spain. I brought my cheese grater and I called it my luxury item. So if you know me, I am addicted to Parmesan cheese, and we do cook a decent amount of pasta while we're staying in Airbnbs. And so I want real Parmesan cheese. Yes, I know I can buy grated Parmesan or at the grocery store, but sometimes if I can get a block of the real thing, and if I'm staying for 4 weeks, you know, why not? So I do put in my little portable, it has a cover on it. So that's, you know, like, you know, shave your hand off with it when you're reaching for it in your luggage. I do bring my cheese grater. The other thing I bring, and I forgot to bring it out here in my list of goodies, is a vegetable peeler. Now, I can't take credit for that one. Another channel that I follow, Judy from Finding Gina Marie, said she always brings a vegetable peeler, and I thought, I don't know, that's a little crazy. But I brought a vegetable peeler this time around, and there was none here. And I've used it many, many times. I don't know, for some reason, we cooked a lot of potatoes on this round, and I did a lot of potato peeling while I was here. So, vegetable peeler, little tiny one, takes up no space. The next thing, which you might think is a bit eccentric on my part, is I brought this wooden spoon. Mostly because I really like it. I like to cook with it, and if it makes my cooking better or just makes me more comfortable. Also, I know where this spoon has been. I know how it's been washed, so I do bring this one little wooden spoon. Now, I am in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, and I see these on the street everywhere, so could I have bought one here? Absolutely. But when I walked in the door, I had what I needed. So there's that, my little wooden spoon. Next on the kitchen list is, okay, I brought 3 or 4 of these like chip clip things. They come, you can use these for a multiple of things, even like from hanging a pair of socks if you needed them. This happens to be closing a most delicious pack of butter cookies that have stayed fresh now for a bunch of days here. But I did pack like 3 or 4 of these, and we definitely have used them. I also brought this little bottle of spices that we use, and I use it on like chicken, fish, everything. So we've been cooking a bunch of that. And I know it's crazy, but just like seasoning makes your food taste good. So besides the regular salt and pepper, which you can pick up, and we did here, a little, you know, bunch of that while in the grocery store while you're here. You know, you don't want a bunch of jars of spice, so I just brought this little thing. It weighs nothing. By the way, when we got here, I also saw that they sold this brand in Mexico. Some people I hear also put them in those little, you could put them different spices in Ziploc bags as well, but this is the one I brought. Okay, the next one is I brought a dish towel. So, for my new friend, Frank, I understand that I can go to the local store and buy a pack of dish towels here for $1 or probably 50 cents, who knows? And probably even, as you said, get 2 or 3. But in my craziness at home when I packed, I brought this dish towel. It's an old one, and you know, it's a little threadbare and has some holes in it somewhere, but there were no dish towels here, and I am cooking, and we are, you know, we do use dish towels. So I brought this one, and at the end of our travels, because this one is so road worn, you know, I'll just throw it out or leave it at the last Airbnb that we're in. But I did bring a dish towel. Okay, I think that covers all of the kitchen things that I have out. So let me morph into some other stuff. So I brought, speaking of towels, so again, this is a Mimi thing, but I brought my own hand towel. So I had bought a bunch of hand towels before we left, maybe 6 months before we left. I just wanted like special fluffy soft hand towels, and so I just brought one of them. And it's great. You know, I throw it in the wash while we're here with the laundry, and I just like to have my own face towel, like face hand towel, whatever you want to call it. It just, I don't know, I like it. It's soft. You know, sometimes Airbnb towels are icky, you know. When you don't have a dryer, they're not soft and fluffy. Of course, this one is also not soft and fluffy if you don't have a dryer. But yeah, I just brought my own hand towel. It's my personal thing. I love having it. You know, when I taught fitness a lot in a lot of different gyms, I would bring my own towel with me because my thing is like, I'm not really sure where that towel has been before me or before my face. So I like to bring my own. So bring my own face towel, hand towel, whatever you want to call it. I know some of this stuff might look bulky too, so let me just throw in, I've done some packing videos before, and you know, we pack with those Ziploc bags, we put our clothes in those big Ziploc bags with that you suck all the air out. So in many of these cases, like with the towels, the air gets sucked out of these and they really fold into like nothing flat. So they don't really take up that much space. Okay, moving on, I'm looking at my tail. Okay, so I know this sounds crazy, but I have used these many times since we've already been here. So I know it's crazy, but I don't know. In my later years, I've developed this like sniffling. Every time I go outside in the morning, my nose starts to run. When I walk a lot, my nose runs. Somebody I met recently referred to it as like older age allergies or something. Susan, that was you. I have to agree with you. But so I pack a bunch of these little purse like tissue packs. You know, you're all familiar with these. I think I threw 3 or 4 in my bag, and they're just kind of just better to have, or for me, it's just better in my bag than a bunch of loose Kleenex. And at that point, you don't know what's used or what's dirty. So I do always pack a couple of these in my luggage before I go. And that said, what I have used them for to my benefit is there have been a couple times when I've been in the restroom and there's no toilet paper. And so what are you going to do? Like, you might have an Elaine situation where the person next to you isn't going to give you a sheet. So these are really great to have, and I have used them just those occasions. I'm looking for my purse here. Sorry, give me a minute. I'm not even going to edit this out, but to that end, I'm going to add in that my husband, my old school kind of husband, always has a hanky. He always has a hanky in his back pocket. Now, I don't blow my nose in a hanky. I don't know. It kind of grosses me out, but I do find that they come in handy. And so I will grab one of his hankies and I will also put it in my bag. If for nothing else, again, in that like ladies' room scenario, if there's no paper towels or no dryer that works, like you can, and I've used it for just this occasion, you whip it out and you can dry your hands off, you know, rather than having to come out of the ladies' room like this or on your pants. So, you know, I'm sure you can get these online in different places, certainly I'm sure on Amazon. My husband carries hankies. He irons them, so when I get them from him, they're very flat and pressed. They take up no space. But honestly, and for women, you know, as you're approaching menopause and you start getting hot flashes or sweating, honestly, I could not have lived without these. I was constantly grabbing one of his hankies because, you know, I never knew in the course of a day, in a meeting or something, when I'd be breaking out in a sweat. So funny as it may seem, these were good to have. Next on the list are these, I found them online, these foaming travel soap sheets. And I've used them again. Been in the ladies' room, no soap. So they're great. They're like, this one comes in a little metal case. Look how tiny it is. They got the cuteness factor, but I think you can buy them where they're in like a little envelope or something. And then you get like these little tiny sheets, and you just put in your hand and you add water to them, and they smell nice. I think these are citrus. They have a couple of different scents. Anyhow, they're not too smelly, so they don't smell up your hands too much. And if you like these, yeah, you should definitely put one of these in your bag. And they have, again, come in really, really super handy for me while I've been traveling. Moving on, next to the list, and we're getting pretty much towards the end. I'm overlooking there at the door because as I'm filming this, Raphael has entered the building, but I like kind of gave him a little high sign, like, don't get in my way. So I'm gonna move on to now, I guess you consider this personal care bedroom, whatever. So I talked about my hand towel, right? So the other thing I bring is, I bring my own pillowcases. Now these are silk pillowcases. I buy them again online. They're cheap. Like I don't buy the $60 ones. I buy the $15 ones. I tend to always get king size because you never know what size pillow you're going to get, but these will fit everything. They wash up really well. And honestly, when you sleep on these, ladies or men, you don't get any sheet marks in the morning. And it also keeps your hair like perfect. Your hair doesn't get messed up. So here's the thing. As we age and we lose that collagen, that elasticity in our skin, you know, when you woke up when you were like 20 and you had a sheet mark, by the time you washed your face, brushed your teeth, and got a cup of coffee, that sheet mark was gone. Well, when you're 60 and you wake up with a sheet mark at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's still there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So this will prevent those sheet marks. And again, you know, my little germy thing, I never really know where that pillow's been or whatever. So I just put this right on top of the pillowcase that the host has provided. And, you know, I throw them in the wash. They're great. Again, they're inexpensive. They come in every color of the rainbow. This one happens to be a cream color, but I actually tend to want to buy like weird darker colors, which is even better because they're the ones that are always the cheapest online. And this way, like they're blatantly on the bed. I can see them when I'm packing because I have forgotten these on a couple of occasions. But if you get a weird color, they stick out and you'll remember to pack it. And then amongst everything, last on the list is this little portable makeup mirror. I've certainly been on many trips and stayed in Airbnbs without it. And you know, you can use the bathroom mirror or, you know, whatever. But honestly, this thing was cheap and it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's chargeable, so you don't need batteries. And you know, I don't know if you could see the light. It's got 3 different settings. It magnifies more than I really care to want to see my face at, but I use it every day. It helps me put my makeup on, and it will I just put it on a little desk or dresser, but in different situations you can actually attach it to the mirror so that, you know, you're right there standing up. But yeah, I highly recommend literally some kind of little makeup mirror if you have room and you want to. This would be like, I would say, another luxury item. So if I had to give up this or my cheese grater, I'm not really sure which one I would pick. But I think that's it. I don't know how many items this was. Again, this is my crazy list. This is what makes me happy when I'm traveling. I think I may lose. Oh, I do have one more. So Raphael had this falls in that towel category. Raphael had this microfiber towel with him, which I didn't even realize. And so it was good because it was huge. And so we cut it in, this is half of one. We cut it in half, and it gave us like another dish towel. And we even have one in the bathroom as like another little, a little hand towel. So the microfiber ones literally take up no space, and they are good to have. The one thing I will bring next time actually may even be an apron, because I like schlitzed up one of my good shirts while I was cooking the other night, and you know, then you have to like stick it or shout it or whatever. So that's a consideration for the next trip. But yeah. So I am an eyeglass wearer. So the one thing that I always travel with now are these little eyeglass cleaners. They're by a brand called Peeps. Again, I am not sponsored by anybody, but these things are amazing. And honestly, everybody I show them to goes out to buy them. So they are not cheap. Raphael got us, I don't know, I want to say they're like, 2 of them are $30 or maybe 3, I don't know. And no, I have bought the non-brand Peeps because I'm like, well, why am I paying 30 when I can get 3 for 12? Don't get the 3 for 12. They don't work as well. They're not as good. This is a time when whatever kind of patent Peeps has, it is working. So honestly, they're the best glass cleaner ever. And I used to keep those like little cloths with me, but these are even better. I don't know. It's got like some kind of weird thing inside that cleans these pads off when you put it in. But anyhow, you just take your glasses and you kind of like squeegee. They kind of rub together. You squeegee them, and then, but it gets all the like yuck off your glasses. So I highly recommend these. We both travel with them. I have like 2 of these, maybe even 3 with me this time. It's called Peeps. Okay, so I actually discovered these after I finished filming this video, but I feel like it's important and I'm literally gonna splice this in somewhere. But one of the things that I travel with are travel slippers. Now, call me crazy, but you know, you can bring socks and, you know, walk around somebody's bare floors or whatever with your socks on, but I find them to be a little slippery. And so I just get these. Again, I buy them online. They come in a 3-pack. These are fluffy and cushy. Are you getting the theme of my fluffy, cushy, right? So they'll last the whole 3-4 months, however long, and I'll just throw them out in the last place. But they're, you know, they have rubber on the bottom. And these are, originally I would use the kind that, you know, when you stay in a hotel, sometimes you get slippers, but they're really flat. I would bring those, they pack very easily. But these, again, if you put, you can kind of shove them in a corner, and if you do that Ziploc or compression thing, they will compress down. But I know this, again, it's a luxury item, and people are like, I know you're saying, oh, she takes up so much space with all this stuff, but honestly, it doesn't take up a lot of space. I am checking my luggage for the most part, and I like having it. So again, these are these fluffy little travel slippers. By the way, Raphael liked them so much that I'm gonna order a pack for him for on our next go round out and about. So that said, although he did buy a pair of sandals at the grocery store that now he seems to like, so $5, so we're good there. But anyway, I forgot to add that in, these little pair of travel slippers. Anyhow, that's my crazy list. I hope you'll find this helpful in some way, or if not, just fun to watch. Just a little deviation from where we are and where we've been. Stay tuned next week. If you've made it this far in this video, we'll do a wrap-up of San Miguel, give you what our budget is, how much we spent, how much we thought we were going to spend. And anyhow, thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Love to have the comments. Love for you to subscribe. And I will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.